Pollyanna, welcome back to Frightfest.
It's so cool to be here.
You've been here many times over the years.
Yeah, I think the last time was for Tales of Halloween.
Yep.
And the first time was for The Woman.
Yes.
And Love Eternal, did we do? Did we do Let Us Pray, I think?
And we did Paul Davis's short, didn't we? Do you remember?
God, we totally
Way
did.
back
Indoors.
when.
Yes. That was very cool.
So what have you been up to?
Well, I've been on this wee TV show called The Walkie D. That's been fun, and I've been making my first feature film, my feature debut, which I wrote and directed, Darlin.
Why directing now?
Because I used to direct theatre a few years ago. When I first came to LA, I started off directing theatre. I directed a play in London straight out of uni when I graduated. And I did it then because I wanted to be in a play, and so I put myself in a play. But I absolutely loved it, and I've been writing ever since. So I had made a 35-minute short called Perfect, which is like a dark comedy about a suicidal comedian in LA, which I play. And then, which I hope to finish this year as a feature. And then Andrew Van Den Houten came to me when I was shooting Hap and Leonard and said, would you like to direct the sequel to The Woman?
And did you say yes immediately, or did you have to think about it?
I knew what an incredible undertaking it was because I had so much respect and love for what Lucky had done.
Yeah.
And it was quite a surprise. It was actually Lucky's idea that he asked me. And there wasn't hesitation exactly because I knew what an exciting opportunity it was. But when I asked who was writing it, and he said he hadn't found them yet, but he thought maybe this guy or this guy, I said, can I write it? Because I'd really like to make it personal. Because if you're going to live with a film for that long, you know. And then when he said yes to that, he had to go and think about it, and then he came back and said yeah.
Now, as we speak, the film is premiering at Frightfest, just the other side of Leicester Square.
Yes.
For the sadly unlucky people who aren't there for the screening, could you describe in a non-spoiler way what Darlin is, just in a minute or two?
Thank you, I will. So Darlin is the story of a feral teenage girl who's been raised in the woods for 10 years, and she comes into civilization for the first time. And the bishop, who is running a care home for girls, takes her in to prove the miracle of the church by turning her from a wild child into a good girl. But it's a horror film, and the woman's in there, and of course it doesn't go according to plan.
That's a good pitch.
I love that. I'm going to write that down.
Done. Yes, done deal. And what was the experience of directing like?
Joyful. Loved it. Love the leadership role, love watching all these amazing people do brilliant work and help them, you know, achieve it towards the same vision, you know. And it's making indie films these days. Obviously, it's a tight schedule, tight budget. You know, it was a quite ambitious script to shoot. Yeah. But I had a lot of freedom, and that was awesome. I had a wonderful DP called Lena Hutchins and a wonderful editor called Julie Garces. And we had so much fun doing it. And I was really, really glad with the cast. And they were not only super actors, but they also got on really well and were real team players.
Yeah, absolutely.
Most importantly.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
So has it given you a different angle, different perspective now for your future work, because you're going to continue, obviously, as an actor? Yeah. Is your treatment of directors going to be different now that you've seen it from their side? Is that going to change you as an actor?
That's a really interesting question. I think that I've heard that directors can be a bit wary of actors who are also directors.
Right.
So I hope that doesn't, you know, it doesn't hamper me in any way, work-wise, getting work. But I think just as I brought the experience of acting into the work of a director, I'm sure there will be things that have alerted me, you know, as a director, that will inform me as an actor. But I was always one of those actors who was up every director's nose, like watching what they were doing and watching dailies and, you know, studying it all. So, yeah.
And casting, I mean, you were fantastic in the film.
Oh, thank you very much.
Polly, how did you find?
I found her. Lauren had been in LA for 4 months. She'd done an incredible role in this great film called 1,000 Times Good Night with Juliette Binoche and Nicholas Coster-Waldau. Yep. And Juliette Binoche was quoted as saying that she was her favourite young actor working today, and I'd like to change that quote to favourite actor. Oh. Not just young actor, but she was 19 when she was cast. So I had a casting session, and Lauren was one of the people I wanted to see, that we narrowed down the numbers not a redhead, which Darlin had to be, not American, which Darlin had to be, but as soon as I met her in the audition, I'd had a problem getting in the building, and I saw her having the same problem, and I saw her through the glass. So I went out and gave her a hand, and so we had this moment sitting, chatting together, and I thought, oh God, I hope she's a great actor, because she's so grounded and funny and fun, and had this sense of just honour and loyalty about her as well, which is so important when you're going to be putting somebody through their paces.
And when you read the script, did you jump at it straight away? I mean, it's quite a brave role. I mean, you go through your paces.
I think I was quite terrified at first, thinking about me doing that. I didn't really know if I could.
Right.
But also just so excited and thrilled to get to read a script like that has so many different layers to a character. She's a character that gets to be so innocent and naive, and also a feral, animalistic cannibal, which you don't get very often. A mixture of all those things.
That's quite a rare role,
isn't
it?
It's a really rare role. So I didn't think I was actually, because I do a lot of drama and very subtle things, and I don't use my body. I actually thought I wasn't good at that at all, doing any physicality stuff. But I think I actually am a really physical person anyway. So.
Well, as you showed us from the weightlifting and the calluses. And had you seen The Woman, or?
I hadn't seen it before I got the script in.
Okay.
Which as soon as I got the script in, I went, okay, what's this? What's going on here? And I'd heard of it because I'd heard about what happened at Sundance, and I think I'd seen the video somewhere on Twitter before, so I'd known of it, but I hadn't seen it. And then as soon as I watched it, I went, "Oh crap! I really, really need to do this now."
Yeah, because that's a very, very strong film, isn't it? I mean, we know from doing the premiere at Frightfest, I had to. I mean, the Q&A was very, very intense.
Yeah.
Because obviously it is a hell of a film. Yeah. I mean, it takes it to the dark extreme. Yeah. This one isn't quite so dark, is it? It's got a lot of tones to it. There's a lot of textures to the film. So it's got a lot of dark elements, obviously, but there's some elements of humour there and other things, which obviously we're not going to spoil. Was that an intention not to go, right, The Woman was dark, let's take this darker?
Yeah, I didn't think that that's what the job was for this one, you know? It was, I know that they wanted something that was a little bit more commercial as far as, you know, reaching more people, because The Woman, like you say, was a phenomenal film and a really strong film, but there were certain people, I think, who were put off by it. So to be honest, I think that Vandenhatten was interested in, the producer, was interested in ensuring a wider audience on this one. So, but I did make it weird enough to that maybe it won't be. But, and it was actually something that I felt a little bit hampered by in the writing. And I was writing this film and thinking, you know, I had a lunch with Andrew and said, I don't know if I can hand over this film that is so personal. And I was getting so protective over the character of Darlin and her being a teenage girl. And, you know, there are sexual elements to it as well. And I didn't feel comfortable at a certain point handing that over to a commercial horror audience. To make a commercial film like that, I didn't want it to be exploitative in any way. And he assured me, he said, write your story, just write your story that you're writing and don't think about that. He said, I steered you wrong by saying, you know, a bit more commercial, make a commercial horror film. And yeah, it's tonally, you know, it's like life, it changes all the time, and even in the darkest moments there will be some absurd humour that will come in. I liked the very dark, kind of oily black stuff in The Woman, and I wanted to bring that into her character and into what she was doing. But overall the film was much more pastel and sort of childish colours. I was wanting to look at, you know, the infantilization of girls and women.
Because it does tackle some proper deep dark subjects, doesn't it? That kind of thing. So.
Yes, yeah. And so I feel like the woman parts of Darlin are kind of, you know, more in that slightly oily version that, you know, that came out of The Woman. But yeah, I knew I couldn't emulate what Lucky did.
Sure.
And I didn't want to. I wanted this to be its own thing.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's good that it's its own animal, it's its own beast,
standalone,
isn't it?
You can watch this film without having watched The Woman, and it'll still be a
Actually, you
great story.
Yeah.